Hey everybody, welcome to an update from Grain Free Me in Fremont, Nebraska. It is July 30th, 2026. We've been dealing with a typical July heat wave here for the last 3-4 weeks, and it's really taken a number on me, you know. But I felt a little bit better today. We got a little bit of rain, which was nice. Um, it was still 80 degrees this morning. And that's for someone like me with my MECFS and other physical issues. This this time of year is just brutal. It's as bad as the 10 below aspect. But I did feel a little bit better today. So I wanted to get back to working on my pizza crust recipe. And I went out on a limb, being I've been trying really hard to work around my original bread and bun chaffle recipe to make things simpler for people down the road. And it's worked out pretty good using that same recipe. Add a little bit of sugar, like a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and be able to work that into the sweets and treats recipe. That you can still use the same equipment for the most part. And I'm it's hard to explain how hard that is to, you know, create a simple recipe that cottage food producers could use and that regular home cooks could use without having to spend a bunch of money. And I think I'm on the right path right now. My and I talked about this in the other video that you know, we need to start talking about stuff like chookies because truffles and sandwiches are already taken. So, if we can do like chookies and chacos for if I can figure out the tortillas, we can call those chacos. I'm going to be working on the ice cream sandwich, chocolate ice cream sandwich that I, grew up with this weekend with my son and my mom. So, I get a 22-year-old and 80-year-old taste buds over here to work on these recipes. But it's been brutal this week. I was just absolutely wiped out. And it's hard, when you have this kind of weather, you're not hungry. So trying to be a test cook, it's sometimes hard to explain to people. I get up and, I go 2 or 3 days without hardly eating in this kind of weather. which is why I've tried so hard to pull people in to become test chefs. Haven't had any luck so far. So today I did work on the pizza crust recipe, and I've been so frustrated with this for the last 2 or 3 years that I decided to go down a different path today and get into the being I already had blended chicken that I'd blitzed in the food processor for chicken nuggets and chicken sandwiches. I'd been seeing a lot of the chicken crust recipes, so I decided to give that a shot, mix in some of the chicken breast in with my original Chaffle recipes. And I'd been playing around with my old recipes of 9-inch pizza pans, fathead dough, basically. And it just never came out the way I was hoping for. So tonight, I never do this, but hey, here we're going to do a taste test of the new chicken pizza crust recipe, which I am hoping that I can. This was just a couple of extra ingredients. So some garlic powder, nutritional yeast, the blitzed chicken breast in the food processor, and then I just did it on a cooking rack instead of on a pizza pan, parchment paper. Par bake, frozen, topped, then cooked 425 degrees for like 17 minutes. I'm scared to taste it, honestly, guys. But here we are, and we're going to give it a shot because I've never done this before on video, but it smells great. I mean, this is cooled down for like 15-20 minutes, so yeah, it's solid as a rock, which in most cases, if you've ever worked in a pizza joint and delivered pizzas to people, this is what you're generally going to get. So we'll give it a try. Wow. Holy cow. That's really freaking close to what I remember as a kid. Red Baron, frozen pizzas. I could do a little bit of tweaks on the ingredients, but that's really freaking close. And my main goal has always been to, one, create recipes that a typical person my age would taste and be like, yeah, I could live with this. But the biggest thing has always been thinking about the younger generations. You know, a 5 or 6 year old kid nowadays has never had a Red Baron pizza cooked at a bowling alley. They don't have those memories. Holy crap, that was really good. And I did the math on it earlier tonight. It's like $1.65, $2 worth of ingredients. And this is the chicken breast with almond flour, psyllium husk, mozzarella cheese. So keto, carnivore, diabetic friendly, I would say. That wow. And this is something that I worked out that is easy for someone to do just in their own standard oven. I didn't use convection. I didn't use wow. Couple of 10-inch parchment. Hold on, let me pull this together here. Well, you know, I've got the other video on the website from like a year and a half, 2 years ago that was like, okay, you know, make the dough, 10-inch parchment paper, couple of 9-inch pizza pans, press it, and but tonight was the first time I did it on just a hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So tonight I just tried it on um, half sheet baking rack, cooling rack actually. So I pressed it out, did it on parchment paper. See if I can throw that on here to show you guys. There you go. So I par baked it. So you could do 4 of these in a standard oven. 325 degrees for 15 minutes. And then freeze it, store it, vacuum seal it, pull it out of the freezer, top it, and then tonight I did the 425 back on the pan or the rack. Oof. That's really kind of that was a lot better than I expected. Wow. Wow. It's kind of like the other day working on the Chookies. Chookies. Still love that name. And this is so much higher protein and lower carb than the stuff I had, the original fathead dough recipes I had been working with. I did not expect it to turn out that good, to be honest. Holy cow. Wow, and thinking about the fact that if you were a 6 or 7-year-old kid and that was the first pizza slice that you got, gluten-free, grain-free, almost completely sugar-free. Wow. Well, it's that kind of stuff why I try to work so hard. The Chookies, the Chaffles. And I'm hoping that my main Chaffle recipe, I can just keep tweaking a little bit. Like this one, it was adding some pork rinds, some nutritional yeast, which is in the original Chaffle, bread and bun Chaffle recipe. A little bit more baking powder. And if I can do that and figure out the tortilla, deli wrap, crepe recipe next, which this is, I don't think I'd change anything about that. It was easy to cook. It tastes great. The crunch. Yeah. Deep dish pizza? No. But when your kids are used to having frozen pizza from the store, I don't know what those are nowadays. $8, $10? You can do that one for $1.65. Mm. And there's nothing bad in there. Oh my God, that's good. Now, that is not the Red Baron bar pizza I remember as a kid. That is so much better. Oh my gosh, that is so much better. Question is, from here on out, can I do diced pepperoni or diced peppers, onions, come up with a hamburger and sausage to do supreme pizzas? Maybe. And then can I tweak the same recipe to make soft shell tacos, deli wraps, burritos? I hope so, because that would make everything so much simpler if we could just start with that main bread and bun chaffle recipe for the sweets and treats, for pizza crusts, for all of this. And the best part about this was, yeah, you need a way to press the dough between two pizza pans, but you could probably just use a couple of dinner plates and squish it. Same way. So the only thing someone would actually have to buy would be the 10-inch parchment paper. That's pretty amazing, because you could mix all of this stuff. A whisk would be great. That's what I used tonight. I used my big KitchenAid stand mixer using the whisk attachment. You would need a food processor to blend and blitz the chicken breast. Okay, I think you could do that with maybe with a Ninja Bullet. You could just use a knife and just chop it like you would herbs. But that's holy cow. Is it deep dish Chicago style pizza or Detroit style pizza? No. No. But is it a typical store bought frozen pizza? Oh, not even close. That, for someone that hasn't eaten pizza and that worked for pizza joints, Wow. Well, what if I can add a couple things to that recipe to turn it into something like gnocchi or some sort of pasta replacement? That's been my goal for the last 6 years, is trying to figure out that aspect of how can I make everything simple. So right now, this one I could start with the bread and bun chaffle recipe. Other cottage food producers out there, sign up, hook up with me, sell locally. That recipe, the dry mix, all someone would have to provide is the eggs, mozzarella cheese for the bread and bun, and the sweets and treats recipes. This one you would have to add in ground chicken, which you can get at most stores. I would say grind it yourself. Get a food processor. Spend $30 on a food processor that you can blend up your own chicken breast. Yeah. As I was saying earlier, it's been a rough week. This heat wave that we've had here just, you know, I was really just dealing with the heat and dealing with people that just don't want to, as I've said in other videos, don't want to help themselves. I've talked to a few people that I've been talking to for a couple of months. They've never watched a single one of my other videos. And I've tried to put it all out there. Okay, here's how I cook. Here's how I try to work around my disabilities to make it easier for other people. And they haven't watched a single one of my, you know, haven't watched a single one of my videos. But it's stuff like this. It's stuff like the chookie from the other day that I've always said. It's going to take that one recipe that really gets people interested. This is one of them. And I'm going to be working on the ice cream sandwiches this weekend with my son and my mom. So I took out the peanut butter chocolate chip cookies to a couple of people last week. And it was weird because everybody said there wasn't enough peanut butter. They were like, oh yeah, totally, get the chocolate chips, but I'm not tasting the peanut butter. But I ordered peanut butter powder, so I get to rework that one versus using organic peanut butter, which is a pain in the butt to work with. So I don't know, guys. That really blew me away more than I thought it was going to do. And I needed that tonight. It's been such a rough summer. And I know I need to apologize for the fact that I haven't had all the recipes up online that I wanted to post over the last couple of weeks. I just didn't have the energy or strength to work through them. And now tonight, having the ability to work on this, it's like, well, that one's done. I don't think I can make the pizza crust recipe any easier, any better, any less expensive on that. So I'm going to try to get that one posted as soon as I can. And I'm going to say something again I've said in other videos, that the best way that we can start doing this, go check out my website. Look at the guild and the community pages. This isn't a make me a millionaire kind of situation. This isn't a, hey, if you buy my recipes, you're going to be cured. That's why it frustrates me so much that people haven't gone and watched my videos and read through my entire website. This isn't about me. This is about trying to help older people, younger people, and building the recipes that'll be easier for disabled people like myself to cook for themselves, etc. Finding the right tools, finding the right ingredients. Having, think about it this way. Having that pizza crust recipe, okay? How nice would it be if you're celiac or diabetic, if you have HFI or gluten sensitivity or other food restrictions? Is this going to work for someone with lactose intolerance? No, it's not. Is it going to work for someone with alpha-gal syndrome? No, it's not. But we're talking about having to try to do the best for the people out there. If you have an autistic kid that's very, very texture and taste sensitive, something like this might be that bridge, especially if you've got an autistic kid with celiac disease or grain intolerance, gluten intolerance. I mean, what about a diabetic kid that's autistic? This could be that bridge. And I've talked about it in other videos. How nice would it be to... I can't travel. I haven't gone on vacation, left the area in 30 years. Mainly, especially the last 10, when I figured out all the medical conditions that I have. Where would I go? Especially having ME/CFS. For a healthy person that just has celiacs or lactose or gluten sensitivity, yeah, you can go somewhere and order something off of McDonald's, board. But for someone like me, I'm so reactive, I can't do that. But how nice would it be if you were from New York or Kansas or Texas or Russia? You went on vacation and you saw that grain-free me sticker in the window or on the side of a food truck, or eventually that's all going to be on the website that producers will be listed. So you can just type in the city and you're going to get a list of the people in a certain city, whether it's Australia or Russia or Ukraine or Japan or wherever. You're going to know that, hey, these grain-free me recipes are safe for me. You might have to cook it yourself. You might just be able to buy the dry mix and go get some cheese, go get some eggs and the other ingredients to create those recipes in your hotel room. But how awesome would it be if there was a restaurant eventually, or a food truck in every city down the road? They wouldn't have to have like 100 different ingredients or 100 different items. Just knowing that you could go to a restaurant or a food truck and say, hey, can I get the grain-free me Chaffle breakfast, or could I get the grain-free me pizza? Can I get the grain-free me ice cream sandwich? Yeah, that would be pretty freaking awesome. So, thanks guys for checking this out tonight. Totally off the cuff, and I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. I was expecting that was going to seriously suck. But that was awesome. And I honestly don't know what I could do to tweak that. It's, even cold at this point, I can, it's starting to break a little bit, but and that's my pizza sauce recipe too. I did boil it down and reduced it because I'd been eating it on my 4-inch chaffles. I have to do some updating on the recipes, but man, I'm going to sign out. Please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Check me out on Facebook. I try to post all the pictures of what I'm working on. Go over to the website. Check out the medical library. 49 pages of, 40 years of research into all these different medical conditions. Ooh. The recipes that I have up for my current Chaffle recipes, great way to get started, but I will be updating them here over the next, I wish I could do it in the next week or two, but being I'm doing all this on my own, it's probably going to take me 2 to 3 months. But the original recipes that are up, great way to get started. Go check out the YouTube channel. It's a lot of me showing people how I got started with all of this, how, the equipment that I use, how I created the recipes, and also just about a lot of the personal issues that I deal with that should give people some hope that, if someone like me can do this, you can too. Anyways, that's so much better than I thought. Yeah, so much better than I thought it was going to turn out. But I hope you guys are all doing okay and survive this heat wave. Like, subscribe, share, get the word out there. And, who knows where we could be a year down the road. Because this isn't just about me. This is about everybody. Take care, y'all. Thanks for suffering through this 44 minutes tonight. I apologize it was that long. I'll try to get the ice cream cookies and the peanut butter chocolate chip cookie recipes uploaded here in the next 2 weeks. I hope y'all are doing well, and catch up with you next time. Signing out from Grain Free Me in Fremont, Nebraska. Take care.